Fuse with Ken, an amazing experience.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another amazing episode of Fuse. You know that this platform is all about allowing humans to be human, to give them a space to share their mind, share what's really happening behind the scenes. Today's guest is someone that over the years I have really seen him impact lives positively, help businesses grow. I'm talking about Ifeanyi Abraham. He is the founder and co-founder of multiple global platforms driving innovation, inclusivity, and of course, economic growth. He is the co-founder of TechSoma Africa and TechSoma Middle East. Additionally, he co-founded the Diverse Business Summit UK and the Diverse Business and Tech Summit 2025 in Dubai, events fostering collaboration among leaders in business and, of course, global inclusion. Ifeanyi is the founder of Find Black Expats and Find Expats platforms connecting organizations with Black professionals and diverse talent worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Ifeanyi Abraham.
Thank you so much, Ken. That was a very great introduction.
Thank you.
Very happy to be on this platform.
Amazing, amazing. You know, before we got on set, I was talking about how amazing you've been, in Dubai, and how I've seen your journey over the years, how you've been very impactful, in helping especially Black people find their path, find their purpose, actually get on their feet. Is actually, I would say it's an honor to have you on Fuse, actually.
Thank you so much.
When
Thank
I
you so
see
much.
Black people, make impact, it's inspirational, it's motivational.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's a new year. So tell us about how's the new year for you, actually.
Well, I'm excited about the new year. It's come with this fresh energy, fresh momentum. I feel like it's a year of possibilities. And the first advice I've been giving to most people is this year, don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid, whatever that idea is. I want the crazy ideas now. I want the ridiculous ideas. Bring them. I had a bunch of ideas to start off the new year, and I'm very happy at the speed at which I'm executing. We're in a very great time in general in life today. Artificial intelligence is exploding.
Okay.
We're at the stage of achieving the singularity. So there's so much potential. With AI, you can do so much in your job. So don't be afraid. So I'm excited about the new year. Usually I write about resolutions. But this is the one year I haven't written about resolutions. I've written more about my goals and objectives for the year. And then
Okay.
once I achieve them, I tick them. I started this late last year, and it's been very, very efficient in terms of tracking my milestones.
Okay, just before we dive into the conversation proper, I like to talk about, especially with every new year, new year resolutions. People, it's like a tradition or a way of life. People tell you, okay, I have this new year resolution all written down, or a new year, new me. And maybe the first quarter of the year finishes and you realize you didn't do anything and you return back to, the usual you. What do you have to say about that?
I guess for people, sometimes it's a drop in energy, maybe because they're not achieving their goals. I tell people, it doesn't matter how fast you're going, just don't stop. You can pause, but don't stop. So that's what I tell people.
Okay.
Now, once you have set those goals or New Year resolutions at the beginning of the year, you have thought about your year from a holistic perspective, and you believe that these are the things that you need in order to achieve your goals in the year. Keep working at it. Even if you feel like you haven't achieved something in the first quarter, just keep your sight on it. Find the right people that can help you. Find the right tools, and that's what is going to help you to achieve it. Now, people say New Year resolutions are cliche, but I feel like as human beings, we need sources of inspiration and motivation. That's really what a New Year resolution does. At the end of every year, I do what I call reflections. I reflect on what has been in the year, and then I plan for the year. That's pretty much what the New Year resolution is. So I don't knock people that do it. I support it. Try to set smart goals, realistic goals. That's what we don't do a lot of times as human beings. So, and that will be extremely helpful in the year.
I like the word realistic goals, because goals can be also unrealistic. But as we dive into your journey now, I usually say this on Fuse that our childhood is very, indicative or very definitive in the kind of person we become. So can you walk us through your childhood and how, everything went for you growing up as a child?
Okay, so I'm the first of five.
You're a first son.
Yes, I'm a first
I'm a
son.
first son too. So
Amazing. So
it's relative.
Yes, I have two brothers and I have two sisters.
Okay.
For my first three siblings, the age difference between us is not so much.
All right.
But I was born with a speed in my feet. That's what I like to say. I was born with momentum. So I achieved a lot of things faster than my peers, from talking to walking to even eating solid food. My parents would tell me I was, say, calling AC. AC is was my first one of my first few words. That's the air conditioner.
AC. Ooh,
Yes, because I
okay.
love the air conditioner. So my childhood was very, very interesting. My parents did their best to send me to the right kinds of schools that opened up my mind to fresh ideas and to the environment. One of the things that really helped me growing up was being able to try out different things. I traveled as a baby. I did so many things as a baby that helped me
All
along
right.
the line. Eventually, my parents had a bit of a bad patch that potentially affected some certain things in my life, but I'm thankful to God. I'm thankful to resilience. Resilience is something I learned very early. One very important story I remember when I was in secondary school. So secondary school, we have junior GS1, GS2, GS3, Nigeria.
Of course.
Yeah, I grew up in Lagos. I was born and I grew up in Lagos.
All right.
I had some issues in GS2 that affected my entry in GS3 because of finances. But when my father came and he told me, he said, you know what, I feel like looking at you, you can do it. You can do it. Now he was describing, and what eventually happened was I skipped GS3 altogether and I moved straight to senior secondary school. And it was
Okay.
amazing. And I was able to understand the curriculum. I was able to understand the courses. I did a lot of self-reading. I'm blessed with a photographic memory. So I do not have to read as much as my peers. I listen heavily in class. I write heavily in class. And this informs my... So that really, really helped me. I was done with university at 19.
At 19, you're
Yes,
done
at 19, I was
university.
done with university. I could
Okay.
have been even done earlier, but still finances. I remember even when I was in I went to University of Lagos, the
Okay.
one of the best universities in Africa. I
Prestigious
say
Unilag,
yes, prestigious
as they
Unilag.
call it.
Yes, and I finished from the Department of Economics. I finished the 4.2 GPA. I was
Okay.
almost at the first class. I remember in my first year, I was supposed to write an exam, but my parents didn't have the fees, and the exams had started. They were 3 days into the exams, and my mother was like, "You know what? Why don't we try again next year?" And I told my mother, no, don't worry. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Even if I don't write these exams, I will pass this curriculum. And that caused like a surge in my mother. And she did everything she could. My parents sold the car, they did so many things, and they were able to get the money. And luckily, I rewrote those exams, and I was one of the best for that particular year. So all of those things have helped shape me to understand the importance of resilience in our life journey.
Why telling us about your childhood? You said something very catchy for me, that your father told you can do it.
Yes.
That is very important in every child's life. We have parents watching this, we have kids watching this, we have young people watching this. And anytime I talk to someone of great impact, they will always tell you, my dad told me this.
Of
My
course.
dad told me I could do it. So that shows the power of, the father in the child, in the life of a child.
Yes.
So can you actually, walk us through the importance of parents telling their kids, especially from that young age, motivating them and telling them you can do this?
Yeah. So one of the things that I believe that parents instill in children is audacity and freedom. Freedom to try out new things. I see a lot of people, I'm a risk taker in general. And I feel like that has come from my childhood. My mother was a risk taker. My father was less of a risk taker, but he took a lot of risks. Now, my father is one of the most educated people I know from the perspective of, first, he started in civil engineering. My father has a degree in civil engineering. Then he did quantity surveying. Then, still much older, he got a first degree and a master's degree in economics.
So he has always been reading
He
books.
has always been reading books. Now, like I said, I have a photographic memory, so I have a first degree in economics. But I quickly deciphered that I could do a lot more outside of the academics sphere.
Okay.
For example, I've never actually worked with my core economics background. I love economics because economics teaches you the study of human behavior, which is what life is about. Life is about understanding human behavior. So my parents gave me that freedom. When I told my father that, okay, this is what I wanted to study, initially I was interested in chemical engineering. He supported me. I
Okay.
told him, okay, I think I want to study economics now. He supported me while still guiding me in life in general. I think that's one of the very important things. So the parents that are watching this, teaching your children two things: audacity and the freedom to try out new things is one of the
Okay.
things that is very important. I was talking to a friend whose daughter is looking to move to Dubai. She's 19, and she's like, oh, she's trying to get a job. She wants to get into real estate. I said, listen, one of the best things you can do in real estate in Dubai is to work in a brokerage, because a
Okay.
brokerage allows you to try out new things, allows you to get the right kinds of information. As a parent, it's your duty to give your child that soft landing that allows them to be able to explode in the world.
All
And that's
right.
one of the things that I would also like to give my children as well.
Now, listening to your journey, I could really relate to it because I'm also from Nigeria, okay? And I grew up in Port Harcourt, all right? And at some point in my young age, I lost my father. I lost my father at 16. So it was a bit of a struggle, all right? So I know what it means not to have finances to go to school. At some point in university, I could not pay my fees, all right? So can you walk us through that journey of that kid in Africa right now, watching this show and has gone through or is going through a lot and feeling like, okay, I what would my life look like? What would I do if I don't survive this?
Yeah. Okay. So that kid, I want to tell you not to beat yourself up too much. Don't beat yourself up too much. We're in the age of information. It's a much better time now than it was during my time. There's so many opportunities that are available. You just have to be one. You have to watch trends. I tell everybody you need to be a trend watcher, and then you also don't be shy to ask questions. It's very, very important. There are lots of things that are available. I know as Africans, sometimes we believe that we we don't have it as good as people that grew up in Europe and America. And one of the things that they have is freedom. They had the chance to fail. But in Africa, we come from a background that gives us audacity. It's very important.
All right.
Now, as a Nigerian, I have what I call superiority complex. I generally feel like I'm better than everyone, and that
Wow.
comes, yeah, and
Tell
that
me
comes
about
from,
it. Tell
yeah,
me about it.
that comes. I don't want to miss the part of the youth,
Okay.
so I'm going to try to merge both of them. Now, that comes from the fact that I feel like suffering has pushed a lot of us to discover that inner thing. That's why, as a Nigerian, anything I go into, I'm better at it. Now, when I came here, one of the first things I did was I started a platform called Nigerians in DXB. I was nigeriansindubai.com. My goal was to chronicle the impact and lifestyles of Nigerians here. I felt like there was a shortage of proper storytelling around the true impact of Nigerians in the country. That's why the narrative around Nigerians was very bad. And I was able to meet a lot of phenomenal Nigerians that are at the top of industries, people that are doing great things across different industries. So one of the things that Nigeria teaches us is audacity. So I always feel like, you know what, I can do it. And Dubai reminds me a lot of Lagos specifically because of the energy and the pace at which things happen.
All right.
Yeah. So back to the child, the teenager that is going through some of these situations, don't be afraid. There are so many things to try. There's AI that makes things a lot easier now. Embrace platforms like ChatGPT, like Claude, like
right.
Gemini. Use these platforms to get information. There's so many ideas you can start today that will make you a lot of money. Visit Reddit, read some of the ideas that you see that's creative startups that people are starting, and all of these things will help you. For example, my first income as a child was writing assignments for my classmates. That was my first income. In my
Okay.
final year in university, I wrote 7 research projects. 7. One for myself and
How did you do that?
6 for others. Now, I had to make money. I was charging between 35,000 naira to 40,000 naira a pop. That was what helped me through my final year of school. I had to do it. I had an A in my research project, and a lot of the people I did projects for had A's and B's. I call myself a life hacker because I'm able to quickly zone in on what is required to succeed in a place. So that was what I had to do. For me, it was research projects. For you, it could be teaching, studying. It could be helping your mates to do something that they pay for. So find skills that are valuable within that environment. That's very important. Today, Nigeria is exporting a lot of talent. There are a lot of Nigerian developers, coders, a lot of Nigerian content writers. There are a lot of Nigerian virtual assistants. People are looking for virtual assistants everywhere in the world today. They're willing to pay between $300 to $400 a month for the very lower rung. And as a Nigerian, you can get it. I tell people in Nigeria, we speak amazing English. That's one of the great things that we have. The British that colonized us brought the Queen's English to us. We speak English more than most nationalities, even in the UAE. So for a lot of people that haven't been exposed to Nigerians, it's pretty much they don't understand, they don't get it. I remember the first place I worked here in Nigeria, in Dubai, they ended up employing 3 more Nigerians because I blazed the trail there. So I always tell people, when you go into somewhere, blaze the trail, because you're opening
Set the
doors. Yeah,
pace.
set the pace, blaze the trail, because you're opening doors for other people. So that's my advice. Yeah, to
Okay.
those young
Now, as we
people.
move forward into your journey, one of the major challenges Black immigrants across the world, because I know you have a lot of experience talking, connecting with immigrants, especially in the UAE and Dubai. One of the challenges they face is getting a job.
Yeah.
All right. So, can you walk us through the first job? How you secured your first job when you came to UAE? Actually.
So one, valuable skills are very important. Now, all my life, so I've mostly worked across 3 different verticals: PR, comms, and marketing. That has pretty
Okay.
much been the core of my experience. In Nigeria, I never got a job by applying traditionally. I was always headhunted. I was head of PR and comms for a lot of really solid companies in Nigeria. So when I came here, I initially was not looking for a job immediately. I wanted to understand, what does the environment need? So that was when I started Nigerians in DXB. And I
Okay.
started a blog, I started an Instagram page. We're over 28,000 today, even though I'm not very active promoting the page at the moment. But I had a podcast like this.
All right.
And in my podcast, I was interviewing excellent Nigerians here. And I remember I got an email from someone that was non-Nigerian, that was that wanted to be on my podcast. Now, I spoke to a friend then. So it's very important that you identify opportunities when you move into a place. It's very key. I spoke to a friend and I was like, this lady doesn't really fit. But you know what? It looks like she has a product targeting Nigerians. So let's find a way to make it fit. So I had the podcast. It was an amazing podcast. And she reached back out to me and she said, you know what? I really enjoyed the conversation. I enjoyed talking to you so much. I'm hiring for this position. Do you have any people within that sphere? And I thought about it. I didn't want a job, but I said, okay, you know what? I'm willing to work for you. And
Wow.
yes, and I started that work. I was in operations. I was in
Okay.
operations for only 3 weeks, because even while I was doing the operations I was doing, they just felt that I had broader skills that could impact on the business. That's how I got into sales. Now, sales is amazing. A lot of people don't like to sell, but I have a salesy personality. I sell without directly selling. That's one of my strong. I do consultative sales really well, because I'm
Okay.
sharing information, I'm sharing ideas with you, and you find yourself wanting to buy from me. That's a skill that a lot of people need to get. Now, so I started selling, and for that company, I did over 2 million dirhams in sales for them. It was not a traditional product. We were selling expertise of experts. So you, as an expert, for example, in real estate, will sell your expertise to organizations to do trainings, to speak at events. And COVID came during that period, and they laid off a lot of people, but I wasn't laid off. I made more money during COVID than I had made before COVID, because week 1 of COVID, I told my boss, we need to pivot our model. Everyone's going virtual now. We need to create bite-sized courses, bite-sized resources on resilience. What are the things that people need during this period? Inspiration, resilience, and let's start to sell it to organizations. And we sold it to a lot of organizations, and we made good money during COVID. So that has pretty much been my experience. During COVID, I got my next job just after COVID, because it was for a recruitment company, a very large recruitment company here.
Okay.
Now, they were one of our clients that we had booked speakers for. But I left such an impression in the mind of the CEO that I was working with, that she reached out to me during COVID to say, are you looking to move? And I wasn't looking to move then. So when I left my next job and I joined her eventually, she gave me, I was the head of sales and marketing role. It was pretty easy. I didn't have to do much. And I joined. And so I tell people, you need to study the environment. The first income that I made in Dubai was from photography. That was the first income I made in Dubai. I had then a lot of Nigerians were coming here to do events. They were looking for photographers. I had a camera. I said, you know what? I'll do it. I made money with that, and I established relationships on that trip. The next money I made was from helping someone check a car in Ras Al Khor that wanted to ship a car to
How
Nigeria.
many things did you do, if
So
I may?
many. I don't believe in boxing myself. I have
Okay.
my core things that I do: intersection, PR, comms, marketing, sales. But I'm always willing. This is the age of side hustles. So you always have to be willing to find what you can do with. So that's what I tell a lot of Nigerians. When people tell me they don't have, I've worked with so many people in Dubai to get jobs, as well as to find the skill that they have that can translate to income. I was talking to someone recently, she's a baker, and she had never done her baking here. I ate a pie that she made for me, and I said, you know what, hey, you can do this. Let's do this. Let's set up a business for you. I did the logo for her. I've lots of other people like that. Ladies, men, you know what? You have the personality for real estate. You can join a brokerage. You can do this. Or you can sell this. So a lot of times people just need to just do some introspection. Think. What are the transferable skills that I have? And what's the opportunity? What's the need that people have around me that I can feel? That's what leads to a lot of times. And even all of the jobs I've done, from Find Black Experts, when I found that there were not a lot of Black experts that are being booked in the industry that I was working in. That's how I birthed Find Black Experts, or Find Experts, which is more diverse, or Tech Soma, which does technology in not just Africa, Middle East, and Canada as well, because we have a Canadian platform that's telling those stories. That's my area of expertise. But there are so many other services that I've provided. 2 months ago, November, we did a report as Tech Soma called Investing in the Middle East as a Beginner and Investing in Africa as a Beginner. We saw an opportunity, and we've had over 4,000 downloads of those reports. We saw an opportunity to...
That's incredible, by the way.
Thank you so much. We saw an opportunity to sell that story, to feature transformational entrepreneurs and operators and investors within this region that are changing the narrative, and lots of people have come back to say, oh, they really loved the thing. The event we do Diverse Business Summit. We've done it in the UK now with my partner. We have Diverse Business Summit coming to Dubai in June 2025 as well. We're very excited about that. But these are different opportunities that I've spotted over the years. So in general, I tell people that are struggling to find jobs, what are some of the skills? What are some of the skills? People are looking for assistants, virtual assistants. I'm telling people for free, that's something that a lot of people can start to do and make good money from.
Okay, now while we look at this story and the fact that you said very keen or salient points, leaving a very good first impression, setting the pace and all of that, but there's something very important when I talk to Black immigrants in Dubai, in the UK, in US, in Canada. It's doubting yourself. A lot of people feel, I cannot do this.
Yeah.
These people don't love me. I'm actually disadvantaged. And this is a problem. I would call it, we need a paradigm shift. You manage a platform where Black people, where Nigerians, where Kenyans, where Ugandans, Tanzanians can actually, find their path. What would you say as regards doubting yourself?
Yeah. So it's a combination of imposter syndrome and lack of role models. Imposter syndrome, lack of role models, and understanding mentorship. These are three things. Imposter syndrome speaks to you have the skills, you have the knowledge, but you do not have the audacity to do it. A lot of times I meet non-Black people that come for interviews, and I look at their skills and I'm like, you don't necessarily have the qualification, but I want to listen to you. Why did you think you could get this? A lot of Black people don't have that. So it's something that we need to embrace as Black people now. Drop the imposter syndrome, have the audacity. Let the employer tell you that you don't have what it takes.
What does it mean to have the audacity?
Audacity means being able to push through even when everything in the environment says no. Audacity means believing that you have what it takes to achieve that goal. Audacity means you have what it takes to be the CMO, the Chief Marketing Officer. It means you have what it takes to be the Chief Business Development Officer. We are in the age of information. There's no job that you cannot do today with the help of artificial intelligence. There's nothing that you cannot do.
All right.
So that's what audacity is. This is the time where people need to embrace to be a lot more audacious. Then role models. I talk about role models heavily. We need a lot more role models within the Black and African community. So who are the people that you're looking forward to? Read, and we need role models to tell their stories a lot more. We don't tell enough stories as Black and African people. So let's tell more stories. Let's support platforms like this that are telling the stories of Black and African people so that people can see that, okay, there's someone that came into Dubai, there's someone that came into Abu Dhabi that was able to find a niche or find some success based without any other support system. That's something. And then I talk about mentorship. Mentorship is so important. Find mentors. Mentors are very important. Okay. In the Black and African community, sometimes we have gatekeepers. Gatekeepers are people that they're shutting the door from other people. I feel like we need to break out of that gatekeeping and give more people opportunities.
Okay, so talking about this, of course I know someone watching this learned something from that. Now let's talk about purpose. Yeah. Every time I talk to someone that has made an impact in life, the question I usually ask them is, when did you find your purpose? How did you find your purpose? What was the trigger?
So I found my purpose very early in life. I come from a very spiritual background. My parents were Christian, and they put that in me pretty young. And one of my purposes in life is to feed nations, but literally, figuratively, knowledge and knowledge-wise. So I feed nations. So I feed nations through information. I feed nations through direct financial impact. I feed nations through my platforms. I expose people to opportunities. That's what I'm called to do. I'm called to feed
How did you
nations.
know that you could do this?
So that's why I talked about the spiritual side, because that helped me very early in life. An encounter with God while I was very young helped me to learn that purpose, and the purpose has been shaped over the years, since I've been just going through my life's journey. So even when I derail from my purpose, I bring back my mind to it, and that has really, really helped me. So when you're finding purpose, whether people that have a spiritual background or not, I feel like very early enough you have to do a lot of introspection. Embrace meditation. Meditate. What are the things you like? What are the opportunities that are available? And don't be afraid to write it down. Write things down. Write it down. For example, for a lot of people that I work with on a one-on-one mentorship and even coaching, I one of the things, the task I gave in December was, I want you to write every area of your life and what is working at the moment and what you would like to do. So that's a very, very important thing that I ask most people to do. So I'm still, for people that are watching this as well, I want you to write it down. Write the vision down. The scripture I like is in Habakkuk. It says, write the vision down, make it plain upon tables that they may run that read it. It's very, very important. So
Okay,
yeah.
so as we look at your journey, okay, your passion and of course your passion about education, economic development, and inclusivity has actually spurred you into writing. I like to call it a powerful UAE book.
Yeah.
The Black and African Guide to Moving to the UAE. Tell us more
Yeah.
about that book.
Yeah. So that book was, it sprung up from, like you said, the passion for Black and African people in the UAE. And we saw that there was not a lot of information around the impact of Black and African people. So it was a bit of an anthology. So I brought together around 19 other Black and African people that are doing successful things here, and everyone shared their perspective, inspiration in the book. And then we launched the book. We did a great launch event. We did the book very close to Dubai Expo 2020, and a lot of people and that book has gone to become the springboard and launch pad for a lot of people that are doing phenomenal things here. We're doing another version of the book very, very soon, to tell more stories, still to go back to some of the earlier stories that were told. A lot of these people's lives have changed significantly since that time. I feel like I talked about mentorship, I talked about role models. So that was our goal. Our goal was to create more role models, and we are going to be doing a lot more of that for sure.
So to that person watching this, even if the person is not in the UAE, why should the person read that book?
It will Audacity. The book will give you.
You love Audacity
I love
so
that
much.
word.
Okay.
It's my word for 2025. Audacity and possibilities. That's my word.
All right.
So that's one of the things that it will help you do. Reading some of those stories, people that have been in the UAE for over 25 years, people that have been here for over 70 years, people that have entered industries like real estate, like restaurant, hospitality, industries that were predominantly dominated by non-Black people, and they've come up and they're able to shine in those industries. Those are some of the things that you definitely get.
Amazing. And of course, how can people get this book actually?
Or at the moment, it's not available online. We're doing a revised version very well, and I'm sure I would probably send a copy and send you information once it's launched.
Amazing. So as we look at your journey, obviously you have a huge experience in immigrants, handling them and interacting with them. So what are those, I would say, struggling things you usually see when you talk to immigrants? And let's not narrow it only down to the UAE. Let's talk about immigrants in the UK, in the US, in Canada, across the world, in Australia. What are those, what I call them very strong things you see that these people struggle with and you think must be corrected?
So, immigrants or migrant culture is a very big topic right now, especially with a lot of places in the world are closing up. For example, things are happening in Canada, things are happening in the US. One of the things that the current president of the US wrote to become president was closing the borders. It's happening in Germany, it's happening in Sweden, it's happening everywhere in the world. So I feel like this is going to be a year where, as Black and African people specifically, we need to rethink a lot of things. We need to build within our circles. We need to bring our people together a lot of times. Things that you can learn from, for example, the Indian migrant population in the US, for example, they are very collective. They give opportunities to people from the other Indian immigrants. So as Black and African immigrants, we need to learn to do a lot more things in the collective. Let us establish financial blocks, even in the UAE, even in Dubai. Establish financial blocks. Let's buy buildings together. Let's do certain kinds of projects together. Yeah, collaboration is very, very critical. And I feel like that's what immigrant communities in different countries need to begin to do more. Establish yourself as a reputable financial and economic bloc that you will not be affected by changing government policies. That's what I tell people in general. So I definitely want to speak to that, and that's what I want to advise a lot of immigrants and immigrant communities. But as a person, or as an immigrant, be too good to be ignored. That's what I tell people. Be too good to be ignored. When they're counting, for example, that's why I like Nigerian immigrants in the US specifically. There are a lot of Nigerian immigrants in the US that are doing phenomenal things in different industries that push. So push yourself. Always be different in whatever location or whatever region that you find yourself. That's what is going to be needed in 2025 and going forward.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And of course, still talking about the immigrant subject, because it's something that I like to talk about. And having you on the show, I would say it's a subject I want us to really talk about more.
Okay.
Usually as immigrants, Black immigrants, or of course other immigrants watching this as well, they usually feel like they're trapped in some jobs that they don't love or they don't like to do. And they feel like those jobs, of course, they need to pay the bills, right?
Yes.
The bills to be paid, but those jobs, they don't love them. They don't love those jobs. And they're feeling, I'm trapped here. I cannot, achieve my life's goals doing this. What would you say to those people? And how do you think they can navigate this?
Okay. So for a place like the UAE where the bills don't wait, sometimes
But the bills doesn't wait anyway, actually.
Yeah, no, the UAE is different.
All right.
Because, for example, if you were back home in Nigeria, you probably can have downtime. You can stay with family a little bit. You can find a much cheaper accommodation. Some of these things are not as easy in the UAE as in other parts of the world. Now, I tell people, it doesn't matter how slow you're going, as long as you don't stop. And that's what I tell a lot of these people that are in jobs or in positions that they do not like. Now, one of the things that Dubai has done in changing its laws is allowing people to work multiple jobs. It's becoming a lot more legal here now. Okay. So while doing the thing that you do not love, that's helping you pay the bills, start doing the thing that you love. So for example...
That's nice. That's a nice thing to say.
It's very, very important. For example, what's the knowledge that you have got? What's the knowledge? Start to study. Start to use some of the free resources. Start to engage people. I remember when I was 20, I was in a job that I didn't love. And I went on LinkedIn. That's how I started writing about technology. That's how I started writing technology. I looked at the industries. I was like, you know what? I feel like there's a need for more diverse perspectives in technology writing. So I started a technology blog then when I was 20, and I started writing about technology. And that led to an increase in fame for me. And when I wanted to leave that job, I emailed 20 top CEOs on LinkedIn. And I got around 5 interviews with all of them. So that push.
Really, you have audacity, actually.
Yes. But before you are audacious, you need to have something tangible. So sometimes I do things with a 3-month plan in mind. So in 3 months, I want to approach people for this. So I started building something that gives me leverage to be able to do it in 3 months. So it's very, very important. So start to build. What's the cost that you can do that you can plan towards 3 months? So planning. So plan 3 to 6 months. I like short-term plans. Why? Because I'm a Keynesian economist. My first degree is in economics. Okay. And John Milton Keynes, his theory was that in the long run, we'll be dead. That's his theory. So I like short-term planning, 3 to 6 months goal. Set a 3 to 6 months goal that would help you to change what you are doing that you don't like. And find the tools and resources that will help you to be valuable in whatever other industry that you need. That's what we need to do a lot of times as people. So education is very, very important. Knowledge is very, very important.
Education is pivotal to your success.
Of course.
But, when we talk about education, people feel it's all about getting a degree.
Yeah. So it's not about getting a degree. One of the interesting conversations happening in the US circles right now is that push that people don't necessarily need degrees. Today, as a software developer, you don't necessarily need a degree, a traditional degree. Google has
How true is
courses.
that
Yeah,
actually?
it is true, to be honest. And for example, I have never used my degree to work before. So the only thing I needed my degree here in Dubai was because I wanted to get a class of visa that was very good. Apart from that, no employer has asked me for my degree certificate.
Wow.
Nobody. It's always been about transferable skills. Even in Nigeria, I never worked with my degree. I was in PR and comms all through. I never submitted a degree. I got my degree from my university maybe in like 2018, and I had finished school since 2010. So that's the truth. So transferable skill. This is the age where people are not asking so much for they're asking, can I see your portfolio? I want to see your portfolio. What work have you done? If you're a content writer, let me see the articles you've written. No one cares about what was your first degree. You can speak and write English without needing a first degree today. And languages are the speak that everyone's speaking right now. So even if you don't have a first degree, don't shake. In Dubai, I work with a lot of people from other nationalities, diverse nationalities. They didn't go to traditional universities. No, they just did courses. They had got skills. They got direct training, and they got a lot of things. And that's what they are using to work today. So this is not to say do not get a degree. Get a degree if you can. I still support it.
Okay.
Get a degree if you can, but do not look at the degree as a means to an end while doing other things as well. That's my advice to most people.
Okay, now while we talk about skills, on the show, while sharing your journey, you've been very penitent about skills. And let's
Yes.
talk about one very critical skill that, in my interaction or talk with CEOs, entrepreneurs, businessmen, we talk about communication.
Yes.
It's very vital. The way you open your mouth, what you say, and all of that. Can you walk us through how critical communication is in the life of a young person?
Yeah, communication is very important. I tell people in all relationships, there are three things that you need: communication, consistency, and compromise. Those are the three very, very important things that you need. And communication is one of the most important things. With words, I tell people, be careful with your words because they can be forgiven but not forgotten. That's very, very important. They can be forgiven but not forgotten. So, and then also when you're communicating, it needs to be very clear. Set a goal in mind when you're communicating. The end of communication is that it has to be understood by the audience that you're speaking to. So communication is very, very important. Try to share. Don't leave information space for the other party to fill up. Over communicate. I like to over communicate. You're not going to be
Amazing.
when I have a conversation with someone about I want to do business with, for example, I always have goals and objectives. Always. You can clearly tell that the goal of this project is to do X, Y, and Z. And what does success mean to us? That's something I communicate as well.
Okay.
Success metrics. This. That's how to clearly communicate. So have that mindset. Always have goals and objectives in everything that you're doing. Even when I'm having a conversation with someone, what's the goal of this conversation? And what is success metric at the end of this conversation? It's a quick thing that I do in my head in order to, so that's
Amazing. So, while talking about your journey today, I would like to ask you one particular question.
Yeah.
What's the best advice you've received ever?
I've received so many good
The top on the
advice.
list.
I think one of the best advice that I've ever received was from someone in 2011. He said, as you go through life, there will be a lot of ups and downs, but don't stop moving. Don't stop moving. Don't stop moving. Don't stop moving. There was a time that I didn't take this advice in my life and I wallowed in depression a little bit. But I got out of it. Momentum is so important as human beings. You can pause to think, to recalibrate, but don't stop moving. Keep moving at those goals. And eventually opportunities will come your way that will transform your life. If you're not moving, you might not be able to catch up with opportunities. So that's one of the best advice
And
I've
what's
ever
the
received.
worst advice you've ever received?
I've received so many, many bad advice as well.
Okay.
But you know what? I test all spirits when it comes to advice.
You seem to be a very spiritual person.
I will not say very, but I am spiritual. Life is spiritual. Yeah, life is spiritual, but you need to test. Even without going spiritually, when you receive advice, it's not every advice that you run with. Sometimes I'm a very polite person, so you can tell me something. I will say, okay, but I will not act on it because I understand the trajectory of my life, and I'm like, no, that's not advice that's for me. It's not for me. And I don't need to tell you that's not for me. It's just that I will not take action. So that's what I tell people when they get advice. Every advice that you receive, think about it critically in line with your situation before moving. Don't rush too much when you're moving.
Now, in one of the videos where I was preparing, for having you on Fuse, I saw where you talked about networking. You got a job, by just how you were able to, connect, and of course how you were able to package yourself.
Yeah.
So can you tell us more about networking?
Networking is very, very important. And I like Dubai a lot for that sake. I remember when I was in Nigeria, for example, I didn't leave Nigeria because I was looking for greener pastures in that sense, because I had a great job, I had a good life. I left Nigeria because I wanted access to more opportunities. And that's one of the things that Dubai provides for you. In the coffee shop downstairs, there's a CEO of a Fortune 500 company in Dubai or a top organization having coffee that you can have a conversation with, that you can exchange ideas very, very easy. So be very open to network. Like I tell people, have an elevator pitch. An elevator pitch is within the space that is going to take for you to ride an elevator. Can you communicate something impactful to someone you meet that will leave an impression in them that will make them seek after you later? It's very, very important. Always have that elevator pitch. That's what you need in networking. You have to be able to sell yourself. So sometimes I sell myself through how I look or how I smell. For example, I tell people you need to invest in all of these things. You will never forget when I've walked in a room. You'll always remember my scent. It's very, very important. So these are some of the things. So in networking, there's both soft skills, non-communicative skills in networking, and then there are direct communicative skills in networking. Can you distill to the top the most interesting parts about you that could be interesting to someone? And then also listen. In networking, you need to listen. Listen to what the other person is saying such that you can find a way for that thing to be useful in the relationship. It's very important. But network in the UAE, do not shy from networking in every part of the world. Attend events. Look on Eventbrite, look on LinkedIn. What are some of the things that are happening within your industry? I hear people, I don't have a job, but you're sleeping from morning to night in your house. How?
Okay.
Go out. There are places you can walk to. There are places you can have free lunches. Even if you don't have transportation, you can load your bus card. You can go on the bus. So I tell people, what do you mean by you don't have access to opportunities and you are sitting still? Move. That's what I tell people.
Keep
Move.
moving.
Yeah, it's very, very important.
Okay, now, this line of thought just triggered something in me, and which is excuses.
Yeah.
We live in a world where people, especially young people, they give tons of excuses.
Yeah.
I can't do this because of this. I can't do this because of this. So what would you say to that young person watching this and has been wallowing in lots of excuses?
I tell people that excuses are to me, excuse is the opposite of success. Because that's what differentiates you between successful people. Successful people don't give excuses. There's no excuse in what are the tools and resources that are needed to achieve that goal. Stop giving excuses. It's very, very important. Oh, okay, I came from a poor background. Oh, I didn't go to university. Read about some of the most impactful entrepreneurs that have been on the face of the earth. A lot of them didn't go to university. A lot of them didn't finish school. A lot of them had parents that couldn't pay fees. A lot of them lost their parents at young ages. So don't give excuses. It's fine to pause, but don't try not to wallow in self-pity. Try not to wallow in excuses. It's very important. Very, very important. Sometimes find someone that can push you. It's very important. Support system is very important in life, and it helps through excuses. I don't lack empathy, not to understand, but after a while, I'm like, okay, now I think you need a kick up the ball. You need a push. So yeah, so that's my advice to people and excuses.
Okay, so you said something about find a support system.
Yeah.
That's very important. Now, how can a young person, find that healthy, support system? I like to call it, that push.
Yeah.
How can you do that? Like,
So first, set your goals and objectives. Very important. This now helps you to find who are the sorts of people that can help achieve my objectives. Now, sometimes in finding a support system, it might be someone that's at a higher place, usually someone at a higher place in life than you are. Now you have to find a way to be useful to that person such that the person feels that, okay, I can cultivate. So you have to be very, very deliberate about certain kinds of relationships. Also, in your immediate environment, if you're in school, for example, university, secondary school, find the people that are around you that are doing better than you, and find how can I help this person? There's something. They need something. They need something. No matter who you are, the other person needs something from you. That's what I always say. You need something from me, no matter how excellent you are. It might be my approach to something. It might be service. It might be service that I provide to you. I keep seat for you in class. That might be the service that you require. But find something. But having a support system is very important. Sometimes it could be your family, that's your support system, your brother, your sister. My sister did something very interesting in November. She said, bro, I want you to be my coach. I want you to coach me into my next level of financial success. And I'm like, and this is my sister. She's very proud. So it was very
Okay, she's
interesting.
very
Yeah, and
okay.
she was very particular about it. Let's have
Okay.
calls. Tell me, push me. Tell me what to do. Be strict with me. And I loved it so much. So sometimes it's support system. So it's not. Don't think that your family member is not. Your family member has what you need. Sometimes your friends have what you need. Your coworker has what you need. So don't be afraid to listen to them and get that push
Now
from
let's
them.
talk about friends, because it is often said that no association leaves you neutral.
Yeah.
And now, as young people, we are meant to understand that your friends will determine, or your circle will determine where you're headed, your destination, right? Let's talk about the importance of your circle or the association you keep.
Yeah. So personally, I have different circles for different things. I can for different things, but at the same time, I have my core circle, my core friends. These are the people that we're elevating each other. These are the people that we are regularly putting in each other. I'm the sort of person that I leave an impact in whoever's life I'm with. I tell people, even if I'm in a relationship with you, I will leave an impact in your life. That's very important to me. So, how are your friends? Say iron sharpened iron. That's the thing,
Of course.
and it is a real thing. I'm not in the habit of being in relationships and friendships where one person is the person that is doing
A
everything.
parasitic relationship.
Exactly. I don't believe in parasitic relationships. I believe in symbiotic relationships.
Of course.
I believe in mutual elevation. It's very critical. So as friends, we take stock. As friends, sometimes we ask ourselves the question: What are your goals for the year? How can I help achieve your goal for the year? There's a guy I'm speaking to right now. He talks about something called connectology, and he talks about
What is
how,
that
yeah,
actually?
connectology is connecting people. It's the power of connecting people, the power of networking, the power of finding mutual elevation. So that's very important. So friendships, be very deliberate about friendships. I love to have fun as well. So I have people that are mostly to have fun with, but at the
Okay.
same time, I have the people that I spend the most time with are the people that we found a way to enjoy every part of life together. So this is very important.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, as we look to wrap up today's episode, conclusively, what will be your final words?
Uh my final was to everyone that has watched this. 2025 has just started.
Okay.
No matter what has happened to you in 2024, 2023, you always have the opportunity to start again. I tell people, even with your business, relaunch your business again.
All right.
Relaunch it. You did a launch last year, relaunch the business again. Nobody's going to, it's not an issue. Always be ready. So, for a lot of people, relaunch your life again, relaunch your career again, relaunch your finances again, relaunch everything again. And that's my approach to this year. There are so many parts of me that will be relaunched this year as well. So let this year be a year of relaunch for you. That's my
Amazing
advice to
stuff.
people.
It's been a
Yeah.
pleasure having you on Fuse,
Thank you
Ifeanyi
so much.
Abraham,
Yeah.
a very talented and a remarkable young man. I'd like to say, someone setting the pace for Nigerians across the world, specifically in the UAE. It's nice having you here, and of
Thank you
course, I
so
hope
much.
that you watching this, you are really motivated, you are inspired. You have to start taking action. Ifeanyi said it. Start taking action. Keep moving. Don't stop. You can pause, but just keep moving. Action is fundamental key to all success, and make those conscious small efforts repeatedly day in and day out. And that's it on Fuse today. Click on subscribe button to see more amazing interviews like this. Support and of course share, as it is really appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now. Gracias.